living there. I just kept shaving my head off. Hey, welcome back to my channel. My name is Omar, and here I talk about my journey living in Egypt. I talk about my language journey and just everything that has to do with being a global citizen. Today I want to talk about the experience of being a black person living in India. So I did a video recently talking about my experience being a black person in Cuba, and that was received really well, and I wanted to just follow up on that and also maybe do more videos talking about being black in other countries that I've been to as well. I also lived in Brazil, and I also went to Mexico, and I also live in Egypt. So all those experiences, I think I've had many different experiences and people, and I was received differently by many different people. And I am here to just provide you guys with the content that you guys want to see. And obviously, since the other video did really well, I wanted to just build upon that and talk more about being a black person traveling the world. But today I will discuss my experience being black in India. I will say, going to India, I went to India back in 2019. I went there for a study abroad program, and I was there for 5 to 6 months. I was living in Telangana, which is down south. It's in like the southern part of India, and they speak Telugu, which I learned, and I was able to use Telugu language with the people who lived there, with the locals, and my host family. While I was there, I also got the chance to travel to Mumbai, Delhi, Varanasi, and Kerala. And that was all such a great experience. I really loved it. And if I could go back and relive that, I absolutely would. India is one of my favorite countries in the world. In terms of being a black person in these in India specifically, it was a bit different from what I was used to while traveling. Because I went to Brazil prior to that, and I was also in Cuba. And in these countries, there's black people everywhere. You know, there's black people everywhere, and people. But in India, that was not really the case. I got a lot of stares first and foremost, but the staring is not so much of an isolated experience towards black people. My friends who were in the program with me who were white, they also got stared at as well. I think it's just, if you're a foreigner, if you just look different, people are going to express their curiosity. And when I was there, I got stared at a lot. And like I said, it wasn't just because I was black, because I was a foreigner. But I felt the difference in my black existence just overall there. Like, I want to say towards the beginning, because I remember like when we would go out sometimes, local Indians would try to take pictures of my friends, and because they were foreigner, and that happens a lot when people travel to India. Like, people want to take pictures of them or with them, and I didn't really receive that same attention. I noticed that people would try to take pictures with my friends, or take pictures of them, just like, you know, secretly. That would happen to me, but really, really rarely. Like, it wasn't really like a common thing. Not that, you know, I'm complaining about that, but I recognized that there was some sort of difference between the white experience as a tourist versus the black experience. In some countries, when you have white tourists, they actually come off as tourists. But in some places, if you're, you know, a black person traveling, people may perceive you as not so much as a tourist. Sometimes maybe an immigrant or a refugee. And so that was one of the reasons that kind of played a role in why people would prefer taking pictures with white tourists rather than black tourists. That was one thing I noticed when I was there. Another thing that I noticed just from being black in India was that I knew, like, about after 1 month of being there, that just my black existence was not going to be fully accommodated because of my hair. They are not really exposed to the barbers, that is. They're not really exposed to cutting black people's hair, or like people with my type of hair. And I remember a month into the program, I needed a haircut really bad. And, you know, black people with my type of hair, we know that we don't have like the same luxury as other races to just let our hair grow out and just being able to just style it in just any way. Like, haircuts are really important to us. And so finding someone who was able to cut my hair was really important. So I went to a few different barbershops. I went to like, I think 3. And the first 2 actually turned me away. They were like, we don't know how to cut your hair. And I respect that honesty, because I would rather you acknowledge that before you try to, you know, take some clippers to my head and just start doing whatever it is that you want to do. I prefer transparency. And so they gave me that. The 2 people from the first 2 barbershops told me, I don't think we'll be able to do that here. The 3rd barbershop that I went to, attempted. He looked at my hair and said, "Okay, we can work with that." And so he attempted to do my hair, and the haircut was absolutely terrible. And so I knew after leaving that barbershop that I was going to have to find some alternative way to cope with, to live for the next 5 months and do something with my hair. I didn't know what to do at that point. I was like, what can I do? Like, no one knows how to cut my hair. And so I remember brainstorming that day and looking at different videos on YouTube about just different black hairstyles, like what can I do? And the idea came to me to just go bald. And so that's exactly what I did. I cut off all my hair during that trip to India, and I was bald for the next, I think, 4 months that I was living there. I just kept shaving my head off. No one knew how to cut my hair, and so I figured no hair, no issues. That experience of cutting off my hair, it also made me a bit more resourceful and adaptive, because I think I looked at this situation, I realized that I was at a disadvantage when it came to my hair, and I thought, how can I fix that? And because that's just the society in India, they're just not exposed to my type of hair. And so I knew that that's not their fault, absolutely not. Like, I'm not even gonna say, like, I think I feel entitled for them to understand how to do my hair. It was just a phenomenon that I recognized when I was living there. And so I recognized that this was something that I was not going to be able to get assistance with. And so I just decided to just cut off all my hair, and it worked. And I lived in India as a bald person, and it was different. One other thing that I experienced while living in India was encountering people who did not understand or who were not aware of the proper term to describe black people. When I was there, I encountered people who would use a derogatory racist term that describes black people. That you could see the curiosity on their face. Like, I remember I was on a trip going to Varanasi, and someone had asked my program advisor, is this person a... And you guys can fill in the blank there. But you can genuinely see that he was curious. And I think the program director explained to him, yes, he's black, but to be more correct in terms of describing these types of people, you need to use this word or that word. And I really appreciated that she did that, because, you know, whenever you're in a space where you're able to be a conduit and bridge cultural understanding, that's great, you know, because I didn't really have like the linguistic competence to really describe that or to really explain that to him, but she did. And that wasn't an isolated incident. Like that happened, I think, about 3 to 4 times. Like, people would think that that was the proper way to address people who are black. And I just think my existence as a black person in India can help promote that in very small steps. But, you know, the more people understand and realize that these are not terms to be used, it's racist and it's dehumanizing. I think my overall existence just, you know, in that space, it helped promote understanding, and I'm not mad at that. I think other people who have less patience may have responded differently, but I'm a really patient person. I'm a really understanding type of person, and I think travel made me that way, because I have no choice to, because when you travel abroad, you're going to encounter so many people who don't understand the societal composition of where you come from. And I think it's really entitled of people to expect them to have that consciousness about where you come from, because not everyone knows. But I will say the overall experience of being black in India, it wasn't, I never felt unsafe. I never experienced like blatant racism to me. And I know that within Indian society, there is colorism, but I never experienced that. And I was there for 6 months, and people in India are really welcoming and hospitable, and they really try to assist with your integration into Indian society, because Indian culture is so misunderstood. There's so many layers to it. There's so many nuances. Sorry, my camera keeps dying. But yeah, I think that was the essence of what I wanted to say. If you're black, go to India. You're gonna love it. I'm gonna leave this video there. I hope you guys enjoy this content, and I plan to post more videos about just the black experience living around the world. I think I will leave the video there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any additional questions, more individual questions about the experience of being black in India, please let me know in the comments below or shoot me a DM in my Instagram. So I will see you guys in the next video.